Hello, welcome back to the show. It's We Are Live. How are you? Good morning. Fun first hour, plenty to get to this hour. I haven't really dove super hard into the Cardinals stuff. They do have a chance to rectify it playing again today, but they lost yesterday. I do want to talk about this. I know last week there was a bunch of hype, and then Todd Phillips pissed some people off with his interesting comments. But the Joker actually smashing an October record with a $93.5 million debut.
It's October record, yeah?
Yep, that's what I said, an October record.
Wow.
It's I talked to some people I trust that saw it. Some were like, it was good, but I don't ever need to see it again. Had some complaints about the story, but his acting was phenomenal, as in Joaquin Phoenix. But I guess the numbers speak for themselves, and you'd have to call it a success. So I don't know. I put up a poll on We Are Live Radio just randomly over the weekend, and it was about 60-40 on if you should go see it or not. So it's kind of a weird situation, but overall, looks like people are happy with it. It's like it was going like a 70% with the critics on Rotten Tomatoes and a 92% with the audience. So that's not that wild.
That's a good score.
Any thoughts? Oh yeah, I mean it's fresh. So.
I haven't had a chance to check out the film. Short of Todd Phillips' dumbass comments about cancel culture, from what I've read from critics, at least I respect, they say it's a pretty solid film. But yeah, I haven't seen it myself. But $93 million in October. They did a great job. When you got to the point where you're getting law enforcement involved and you're talking about planned protest involved, when it comes to a Hollywood film, that all but says, go see it. And so it sounds like people did just that. And I guess I can't say I'm too surprised at the number. They were projecting somewhere between 80 and 90 for the last month and a half, the way it was tracking. And so it's a big win, of course, for Warner Brothers, a big win for Todd Phillips, who continues to show that he is a big blockbuster type of director that can get butts in seats. And I'm curious to see Joaquin's.
Do you want to see it?
I do want to see it. And
yeah.
I heard, I think if there's been consistency amongst the reviews I have seen, is that Joaquin Phoenix's performance, people are saying, is just absolutely elite. So I'm curious to see that. I do want to see how dark it is, because people keep emphasizing the dark aspect of the film.
Talk to somebody who saw it, and they're just saying it's like the violence is extreme and done very well, but it's extreme.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So, Gardner, do you want to see it, or do you have any interest in movies like this?
It's nothing I'm gonna see.
Did you see Dark Knight?
No.
No.
I don't know if I've seen that all the way through.
Interesting. Yeah, you're always a bad person to.
I've seen parts of that though. I've watched it I've seen batches of it, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never watched it in one sitting though. But I have seen, I think, a good deal of it. Look good. It's fine.
I don't mind. I guess apparently this is a one-off, so this is not going to fall off. This is not going to fall into any of the other DC universe stories. This is completely separate from all of that. From what I understand of the film, they do acknowledge the Bruce Wayne character at some point in the film. That's what I've read from reviews. But outside of that, this is a strictly standalone film that will have no connection to the rest of the universe.
Just like, hey, we're just going to do this little thing.
Yeah. And,
little thing.
I don't even know if they're...
$93.5 million opening weekend. Yeah.
But even with its financial success, I don't know if they're even considering doing a sequel to this. Like I said, I think they just wanted to make this one standalone, dark, superhero-esque type of film. And just judging by the response from critics and people in the know, they say Joaquin Phoenix is definitely at the top of the list for someone who will probably be one of the favorites come award season. But I want to see the film. I like when the comic book universe goes down these avenues. I think, especially when you know a character like the Joker, it's kind of hard to do a PG movie or even a PG-13 movie if you really want to get to the origins of the Joker character. And again, I don't know its connection. I know people were talking about its connection to, mass violence that has taken place here in this country over the years. But as far as the character Joker is concerned, he's a serial killer. He has always been a serial killer. Now, the Adam West shows and the cartoons may have polished him up a bit, but the origins of the character, at least in comic book form, has always been this murderous guy who's had no problem killing
I thought it was weird. Like,
women, and children.
Did you think
Sign of the character.
Did you think it was weird? Like people like, is this the right time for this kind of movie?
I will say
it's always the right time for any kind of movie.
Yes.
I'm sorry. Like there's horrible movies made all the time about real stuff that's happened.
I think I'm of the thought process like one, it's a film. But if you're as concerned as you pretend to be in regards to what the violence is in this film, then you certainly should go to great lengths to make sure we can reduce that same level of violence in real life. And I don't think the people who really call themselves caring that much will go to those lengths to do so. You're not picking up the phone and calling your congressman. You're not doing necessarily what you can to stop voting in people who are pro-gun and who have no problem with...
I think it's misguided, and you see an industry that you think would maybe listen to you, whereas like public officials and things is much more work. So it's like, this is messing up our society. Like, this ain't messing up our society.
Right.
This is art thrown out there, and it covers different aspects, and it has a bunch of different meanings. And if you think that, is this the right time, like, listen, show them with your dollars and don't go spend it.
And not only that, we had no problem glorifying the character when it was Jack Nicholson. We had no problem glorifying the character when it was Heath Ledger. So
and
now,
there was
now
plenty
we're ready
of
to draw the
horrible
line.
things going on then too.
And those exactly. So I don't this idea that now we're ready to draw the line in the sand with this Joaquin Phoenix interpretation of the Joker seems fairly silly to me.
I wonder,
but again, I just think people, if you really care as much as you say that you do, and I believe
probably
that
a
there are
vocal
people who are
minority
there.
were saying that.
I'm sure
too.
they are. And I think if you really care that much, then focus that energy to that. I don't think Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix and the folks at Warner Brothers are necessarily completely responsible for the violence that takes place in our cities. They're, if anything, the reflection of what's taking place in our society than anything else. They're telling a story that we already know that exists.
I'm not saying it's not, like, it can hurt that this feels kind of real. That sucks. Yeah, I get it. Where you can be like, oh, some kind of mentally ill white dude has a problem with things and goes on a rampage. Yeah, I can see where that'd be super sensitive. But also, like,
wasn't it Gacy who dressed up as a clown?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So, like I said, this is like, I think we can all look at real life issues as to why these certain characters exist. So the idea that the Joker, this character, is what's pushing society to be violent is silly to me when we know it's a reflection of the Gacy's of the world and the other crazy serial killers of the past, of the 60s and the 50s. So the idea that now presenting this movie in 2019 will incite more violence,
You sound like the people that are talking about video games every time a mass shooting comes up.
Right.
It's just, come on.
Right.
We've seen people do studies and such. Let's calm down.
And that's how I feel about it. And again, why?
And it could be a minority. Here's a question, and try and be objective when I ask this.
Okay.
Are people saying this because, okay, so lots of people I respect, and like even just us talking about it, would the extreme versions of people who got annoyed or super offended by Todd Phillips' comments, would they then weaponize their thoughts and say, really, you're going to do this movie? Like, would that be the same person? And you can say no. Does that make sense? Because I don't think that many people are screaming that you shouldn't put Joker out right now. Mm-hmm. But I'm wondering if some of those few would be people that are annoyed by what he already said.
I was
Same
just
type of person.
I was only annoyed because from a creative standpoint.
No. But you didn't take it to say, Joker, whoa, too far right now.
No. I think, like I said, I think it's a film. And to Gardner's point, it's a video game. Like, I think there are a lot of us who grew up on video games. We all play the 007 when you can take a silencer and shoot your villain in the face.
Right. Yeah.
I don't see any of us, you know, parading into a school or a post office or a movie theater with automatic weapons shooting up innocent people.
Right.
So I think that, look, I'm with Todd Phillips in that. Let the movie stand on itself. If the movie sucks, it sucks. If it's good, it's good. But I don't think Todd Phillips releasing this movie or Warner Brothers releasing this film is going to add to the scourge of violence that we see every day in our newspaper and we read online. That's a bit of a reach for me. I think it's very interesting what
what adds to the violence is legislators doing nothing.
There you go. That's really that simple. Like Todd Phillips and Warner Brothers creating a character which is literally based on real life villains, real life murderers. I don't think that's contributing to why kids are wanting to be more violent or being violent or having the access to automatic weapons.
In the back pocket of the NRA.
And I think to that point, I think it's lazy, I think, for legislators to even continue to pump up that narrative when they are actually in a position to physically help.
Oh, I don't.
and
I don't
reduce
think,
violence.
I don't think those folks would say anything about the Joker movie. Do you?
Politicians?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't think
Oh,
so.
absolutely.
I don't think now.
Definitely.
I think that was a
definitely.
weird thing that they did with like censorship in the 80s and 90s. But like it's kind
Well,
of
they
flipped.
could.
I would think it'd be more of a left-leaning censorship
Well, here's the
because
thing.
it's
I
Todd
mean,
Phillips and it's.
well, I mean, Republicans have gone on television and blamed video games for shootings already. So why
For
wouldn't
sure.
why wouldn't they use?
I'm
something
saying I
else?
didn't hear one. Did you?
I've heard
No,
one
about
recently.
Joker?
Oh, joke! I haven't seen
Well,
it.
about the
No.
Joker, no. But
That's
I've
what
heard,
I'm saying. This
but
Well,
doesn't
I'm
feel
saying
like
they
that.
very easily could if they
Sure.
wanted to.
well, they
yeah.
have. I think they've seen.
I just
Because
haven't. I didn't hear one.
Yeah.
Not one.
They've
from
already
this one.
they've already used video games several months ago.
They've already used Hollywood several times. And Hollywood's an easy leftist punching bag, and sometimes Hollywood kind of leaves himself open a few times.
Well,
but
I was arguing to say that actually I think the censorship would come from someone that would identify as left for the Joker stuff because it's attacking because they're bringing up the fact.
I don't know. I don't know what left voices have you heard?
I'm saying whoever. I don't even know who the voices are. We just
Right.
know that it's a thing.
I haven't even.
But it felt like more of it was like saying like, is this the right time with a white dude with a bunch of guns? That's all I was saying.
I get why that argument would want to be made, but again, when it comes to a movie, I don't know. Like,
we agree.
when is
Yeah.
the appropriate time to release a film? Because the last time I checked, crazy white guys shooting up public places has been a thing for years. So when do you then release a movie about that? And I don't hear anybody else saying that about other films. Like we have The Terminator that's coming out. It seems like a lot of
There
white
was
people
one
with
movie
guns with
that-
the future
yeah.
at stake.
something
That seems
post
pretty excessive.
9/11 that
No, but then recently there was a movie that got cut from distribution because that was like.
Was it The Hunt?
Yes, yeah. I don't
The
know.
Hunt
That's the
of,
only thing I've heard of recently.
Blumhouse, I think, yeah, because that one I think specifically had in the script like right-wing personalities. Like it wasn't even cloaked in
And they just
creativity.
they
were just
decided that
like,
it wasn't
no,
gonna
it
be
was going
worth
to.
it.
Yeah, well, yeah, and then of course, it didn't help that the president jumped on it and basically made it very clear.
Sergio Simpson was in that, I think.
Really?
Yeah, he had a part in it. But but back to it. Like even with your incredibly wrong take on the interview with Seth Rogen a few years back, you run into these things, and it's whatever the flavor of the month is on what people are mad about. And I'm glad we see it the same way as far as like, hey, this isn't our problem of anything. We got a million other things that are causing things to be wrong.
Certainly.
We have a question from Black Sheep to Travis's point about 007. Can we not agree the kids who picked Odd Job and moved around on their knee in multiplayer were early signs of future monsters?
There's no doubt about it. Those are the kids we should have picked out immediately. Black Sheep's always on to something. He's correct.
you should use these games to profile them.
I just. What if that's how it's? Be a good way.
Yeah.
Whatever the FBI can do at this
Yeah.
point, but yeah, I don't know. I'm of the thought that a lot of us grew up on a lot of things that were very violent. A lot of us grew up in violent cities. Some of us grew up in the most
Can't
dangerous
imagine.
city in America, and a lot of us didn't necessarily go on to shoot up schools or movie
Right.
theaters. So I think we need to start contextualizing.
Are you saying to take information in moderation and make an opinion for yourself and your community? This is a very rational approach, Mr. Terrell.
I don't like it. That's a bad thing.
Yeah, he's like, I feel very weird not screaming and just shouting things I have nothing to back
I'll
up.
I'll shout at Todd
you'll be back
Phillips
up.
about.
Now, here, let's see if you
I was
shout at
shouting
this.
about Todd Phillips about that.
Oh, and that was dumb.
We
and he
can't
was
do.
wrong.
I can't do comedy anymore. Excuse me. What? Just like, shut up.
Say what?
You can't do comedy anymore because that's not funny. I guess.
But we all know he's funny. We all know he hacked the system and figured it out. So don't tell me. That's why I think that's why people got mad too. A, because the message was lazy, but then B, because it's like, you can't tell me you couldn't sit down and write another hit, because you would,
Chris,
and he would.
I watched.
Tell me he wouldn't. Tell me he wouldn't.
I think he.
I'll call you a liar.
I can certainly think he
No,
could.
I know, but I think that adds to the frustration. 'Cause
Yeah,
you're like,
absolutely.
Oh, you're just trying to look a certain way. Shut
Right,
up.
and that's the other thing. Like you're trying to not. I don't know. Trying to I don't know if he's trying to endear himself to his buddies who are against cancel culture. But I just watched the show this weekend. I think I just watched an episode of Big Mouth. If you haven't seen it, incredibly hilarious. But there are kids. There's an episode
How old
where
are
the
they,
kids
11?
like 11, 12. They're like in
horrible.
junior high. Yeah, they're in junior high, and there's an episode where, as a joke, there's this massive storm that comes through the town, and all the kids at the high school have a superpower. But remember, they're prepubescent children who are just learning about their bodies and women and men and boys. And there's a character called Cum Monster. And his power is to literally form objects made of cum. And it's got a 4th season coming up on Netflix. So don't tell me you can't push the envelope, you can't be ridiculous and over the top in comedy in 2019. I just watched a show that had an episode where an 11-year-old superpower is called Cum Monster. Shut up, Todd Phillips. You're being lazy. Grow up. And congratulations on a successful weekend. Job well done. If you're looking for any international writers to hire for your next project, hit your boy up at crdemin@weareliveradio.com.
Okay, at least he got part of it wrong there. Okay, great. Here's something I do want to see if Travis will scream about, which I agree with, actually. I said this about the Hobbit film. Sorry, Gardner, you look like you're antsy, buddy.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, I thought you had something.
No, we're missing some stuff, but we'll get to it.
Oh, okay. Martin Scorsese, just sticking with the superhero stuff.
Right.
One of our favorites, both of our favorites, all of our favorites, maybe. Gardner, you probably have some weird vendetta against him because he looked at a cigarette wrong once or something.
Have a smoke in your movies.
Right. Leo should have smoked more.
Yeah.
So he's there's an interview with him talking about the Marvel films, and he says they're actually not films; they're more akin to amusement park rides. Highly agree with this. That doesn't mean I don't like things. I said this about The Hobbit. Because I went and watched The Hobbit after loving the Lord of the Rings trilogy. And I watched The Hobbit, and I was like, boy, did I feel like I was at Six Flags, and this is a rough one. And I didn't appreciate the story as much. Now, to combat what he said, I think there's story and heart and entertainment infused into these that you would never get on an amusement ride. But I think you would be silly to not at least partially agree with him, because a lot of these things are made in the fact, or became more of, can we now sell this into a theme at our theme park and make people fly from all over the world and stay at our hotels, drink our beer, and eat our food? So you look like you're about to blow your top. So
well, I didn't realize you were going to...
Before you go on a 20-minute tear, I do want to say thanks to Hillside Animal Hospital and their great work that they do.
You're going to soften the blow by throwing in dogs. Well played,
the great work that they do right here in St. Louis. Dr. Ed joins us each and every week for Dogs on Film, featuring Sean of... Rosie's fame. HillsideAnimalHospital.net is where you can find their capabilities online. I saw Dr. Ed over the weekend. Myself and Ian Edwards are looking at a car at the Grove Fest, and here comes Dr. Ed out on a run, keeping himself healthy, Travis. That's right. Go see Dr. Ed, HillsideAnimalHospital.net for more information. Your thoughts on just the headline. I know you probably didn't read the article. I haven't read the article, but I did tend to... I've said that before, not necessarily about the Marvel stuff, but if you're him, can't you see his perspective?
I don't. And here's why. Because he said it himself. He hasn't finished a film. You don't get partial credit. No, that doesn't how it works.
MO.
No,
that's been your MO
if you're
for 4
Martin
years.
Scorsese, who is one of the greatest filmmakers of any generation, there's no denying that. James Gunn and everybody who's responded to Martin Scorsese acknowledged what we already know, is that he's one of the greatest filmmakers
Well, hey, don't
of
you
a generation.
Okay,
With that being said,
to your point, do you think if he watched maybe what he saw?
if I saw Goodfellas,
what
if
would
I
you
only
tell
saw
him?
half of Goodfellas and I said, this ain't nothing but a thug-ass movie about thugs and gangsters, this ain't cinema, this is just glorification of gangs.
I would say...
And I've only seen... And if
I would say
said
classic
that,
Travis.
there you go.
And then you would shout
there
me
you
down.
go.
And you
there
would
you
say
go. And
your
I would
point
be
was
like,
right.
you know what? You're right, Chris.
No.
You're always right.
No, but hey, if you had to suggest one film to him, I have one in mind. What would you suggest to him to watch? Be like, all right, Martin Scorsese's going to say he'll watch any of the Marvel films, and you need to convince him that they're films, not
Was it
not
Marvel
toys.
films or comic book films? I thought he said comic book films.
Let me pull it up here. Sorry.
Because I just want to make sure because if there was a Marvel film.
I believe he said, the headline I thought said Marvel.
Okay. If it's Marvel, then, oh man, I have a list that I can go to.
Well, you just go one. Which one do you pick? I want to know if it's mine.
And if I had to choose one, I would go with the original Iron Man.
Would you?
I would go Iron Man.
Huh. No, I would play to his love of music and everything else. I would go
Guardians?
with the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's
because of all the great soundtrack. Story's good. It's entertaining, and I think he could appreciate it.
I mean, I again respectfully disagree, only because one, Martin Scorsese acknowledged that he's never finished an actual Marvel film, and I think that's not fair. That's a disservice to another creative. That's a disservice to the craft. You can't judge something without actually seeing it. And for a guy like Martin Scorsese, who's had his own history of people dogging his films and what they stand for and what they truly mean in regards to cinema, I again am shocked and surprised that I don't know what's going on in Hollywood. And maybe
People have
when these
opinions.
guys do, and they should have opinions, and maybe it's just because these guys are doing endless interviews, and
That's another thing.
that happens.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't understand how you can judge a film without seeing it. And I don't think that's fair. And I think there are a lot of world-class actors that have worked with Martin Scorsese that have worked on these Marvel films, and they talk about the craft. They talk about the story. They talk about what goes into making these movies work. And I think it's a cheap shot. I don't. People get older and they just get doubly crankier. I don't understand. This is to say it's not cinema.
You ready for this?
That's horseshit.
From James Gunn. I was outraged when people picketed The Last Temptation of Christ without having seen the film. I'm saddened that he's now judging my films in the same way, he added. That said, and this is from Variety, I will always love Scorsese, be grateful for his contribution to cinema, and can't wait to see The Irishman.
And I think
James
everybody
Gunn with
feels
a
the
very
same way.
St. Louis Midwestern
And it
approach.
was. And I think everybody feels the same way. That's why I think Samuel L. Jackson went as far as he went a little bit further than that and said, well, not everybody loves Martin Scorsese films either. He has an opinion, let him have it. But I just think that's unfair to the people who bust their ass, the screenwriters, the producers, the directors, the cinematography. There's real art in these projects. And if you haven't seen it, then you shouldn't be able to form an opinion on it. Now, if he sat through it and came to that conclusion, then so be it. But you can't sit through a first act of a film and just say this is what it is. That just doesn't
I
work
think he
that
would
way
be-
for me.
I think he's an older guy, and I think he's super busy all the time, all this stuff. But I think if he sat through Guardians
I think
of
he's
the
pissed off that his
Galaxy-
grandkids love it. I think he's pissed off that his kids
and
love
this
it.
could be a throwaway quote from something too. But I would just say, I bet if he watched Guardians of the Galaxy, he would go, all right, I get it.
I think from what I read in the article, I don't know if I read the whole thing or not. It's been a while since I remember looking at it. It seemed like he was saying these types of stories aren't like real human stories. That they don't have those elements involved because of how they're designed and what they are, and so I guess that's his opinion on it.
Right, sure.
So like the emotion, the feelings, the problems and all that, he's like aren't real human. That's from what I gathered from him.
And
That's how he views it from what I read.
And that's understandable. But then I would say go watch Black Panther then. Because Black Panther in itself isn't necessarily a theme park story. It's a story. It's a story about
The giant
being
rhinoceroses.
Well, that was awesome. That was really, really, really cool. But it is a story about. It's a unique story, and one thing that I
there's
think
a story
Coogler
to that,
did.
yeah.
I think what Coogler did with Black Panther, he doesn't get a ton of credit for, is that that's a real world question. If you know that people who look like you around the world are suffering, and you have the means to prevent that level of suffering, when do you interject? When do you involve yourself in helping these people that struggle and look like you? Is that not a real human question?
I thought they did a good job.
It
I
was
saw
a story about a
No.
group of people hoarding technology.
Hoarding technology
to hurt others.
or sure, if you want to.
Or not
That's
help.
so evil.
That's right.
But
Yeah, that's right. So I agree. Black Panther should have been considered an enemy of Captain America due to his selfish behavior.
I think even
and
one of-
Wakanda, not forever.
I think, and then if you look at movies like Dark Knight and you look at movies like Logan, I think these are phenomenal stories with a real human element. And again, I'm just more so, like I said, with Todd Phillips. I'm surprised that people who have had their work, like Todd Phillips, people killed The Hangover. And still people went to the theaters and went to go see it. They talked about the content and whether it was too gratuitous. For a guy to do the Passion of the, not the Passion of the Christ, but for Scorsese to have a history of films that have been so controversial and people have questioned whether or not it's overkill in regards to cinema. And so they have people who have these backgrounds say these things. It just feels weird. Like it's almost like a Lindsey Graham situation. Like, where was the old you? Where did the old you go? What happened in your life recently that caused you to suddenly flip? Like to hear Scorsese and Phillips, this is so weird to me because these guys have had their work completely obliterated by critics based on its gratuitous violence or gratuitous sex. And now here they are playing the old grandpa on the road. Get off my lawn. Really? You two? E2 Brutus. E2 Brutus. Brute. I don't know. We had the public school version in school. Sorry, man. Sorry. We didn't get the actual Shakespeare. We got his name was like Billy Shakes.
Oh.
Billy Shakes was the
I went to
actual.
public school as well.
You didn't get that version. But do you not find? But isn't that just
I
a
had
little bit?
cornfield around my high school.
But I
We
don't.
had literal cows next to our high school, and it was just, if you know the whole story, like the land that was given to the high school was given to a guy who used to own
Murphy?
half of, it was Murphy. He'd settled it, do that. But every single time a school would roll in to play you in a sport, that's the first thing they saw, cows next to your high school. Saw your cheerleaders on the way in.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
I think it's just.
I agree.
It's seeing creatives beat up on each other is just weird, and I think there are too many respect.
Creative on creative crime.
I hate it.
It just
and I hate it.
shows that they don't see each other in the same light.
They don't, and that's funny because again, there have been world class actors who have worked with Scorsese, Samuel L. Jackson being one of them, who are in these films, and I'm confused. I'm just utterly confused. And then for him to even say it when his co-star in The Irishman
I don't know.
is in The Joker, that's also interesting. But it's just, I don't know.
It feels self-righteous anytime
does.
you hear people call it cinema to begin with.
But wouldn't he be
The film, cinema?
I agree, but wouldn't he
This
be...
isn't true. Like if you say
Right.
if you're having a layman's conversation,
Right.
you use movie or film.
Film, right.
Like when someone uses cinema, you know where they're
But is
Wouldn't
this
he be the
isn't
one
true
person...
cinema.
This isn't cinema. You go, the glasses is coming.
How
on
is
the
this
edge of
allowed in the
This isn't
theater?
cinema.
Wouldn't he be the one person allowed to say cinema?
He's
He
old enough.
can, but
Yeah.
it still sounds
Yeah.
self-righteous, is what I
Okay.
would say.
I think at the root of a lot of these,
Hollywood elite.
I think the reason why, and for whatever reason, people just think it's just the CGI and the toys.
Well, I
These
mean,
are good
but
stories.
those-
These are
those
what
they
it?
are.
people
Oh,
are.
it's not? Oh.
People are going.
I was
People
like,
are going
I
to
think
see.
that's a pretty big part of their plan.
I mean,
but, yeah.
sure, yeah, technology has a part in regards to telling these stories, but
Yeah.
people are showing up in droves around the world, mind you.
Mm-hmm.
Not just Americans, but people across the country, across the globe are watching these films, and they're going 1, 2, 3 times because there is story. If it was just pomp and circumstance, people wouldn't be returning multiple times. They wouldn't be
Maybe-
investing as much as they do into these films.
Maybe Scorsese's upset because the dirty little secret is he can't create a story like that. Maybe he can only tell the
Bite your
human
tongue.
stories, the only stories that are presented to him.
Be the best damn superhero movie you ever
Maybe
saw.
he can't create like that. Maybe he wouldn't come up with vibranium.
Maybe.
Just maybe
I mean,
that's
I
it.
think, and it's
Maybe
also
he
here's
wouldn't
another
have
thing
got
that's also very
Nickelback to be the Spider-Man.
when
saying
it's eating him alive inside and he
it's-
can't say anything,
and
so
it's-
he's projecting.
Well, I mean, and look, again, Scorsese is one of the great, but he also, look, some of his best films come from outstanding source material, too.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm saying-
his first Oscar came from a remake.
So I'm saying, exactly, so I'm saying, I think,
Departed was
Pump
a
the,
Japanese
I
film.
just wish,
Maybe he's nothing more than a Game of Thrones writer through 7 seasons.
Bite your tongue, man.
I look,
I'm just presenting a
No,
possibility.
you're trying to cause chaos, and we won't stand for that on this program.
Well, I've never done that before.
Yeah, that's
Well,
what
speaking
it
of
is.
chaos, boys and girls,
Oh,
this has been one
transition.
chaotic month of
I know.
glory.
We're not doing it today.
It is
Oh, we're
time.
not?
We're going to have to kick it.
We ain't nothing.
What?
We got to kick, man. We got a whole half hour.
We
show
haven't
left.
done Cocktoberfest
That's
yet.
what I was trying to get to. If you just
Oh.
take a deep
Yeah,
breath
felt
and
like
take
we
a
were-
pill, I
felt
would
like
say
we
a chaotic month of glory. If you all would just stop and listen and take your white privilege out of your face.
That doesn't
Can, it's
apply here.
Cocktober-
Nah, it's
Fest.
Cocktoberfest.
Doesn't
Same
apply
difference.
here.
Gardner, let's kick it off with, of course, our songs of the day.
Okay. Cocktoberfest playlist. You ready, Travis?
Let's do it.
Your first one? Schism by Tool. Last time you
How's
rocked
this
out to
one?
that one.
Well, how's that go, Chris?
Is it the one where just...
I think it's the- here's- I get Tool songs
for
confused
40 minutes.
because I'm not big into Tool.
See, I'm mad at myself because I'm not into,
I was
I'm
in
not
ta-
into Tool.
I
but,
went to
like,
their
people like
concert
them.
last time they were in town.
Did you
Yeah.
really? That's kind of creepy.
It was actually fun. It was.
How old is Tool now? 49? 50?
They've been around now.
55.
Well, this is like their first. They just dropped their first album in what? 10 years?
Yeah.
More than that? I think it's that one that you're doing. Is Schism. So Tool.
I know the pieces fit. That one.
doing Maynard there?
Yeah. Wasn't that it?
He makes wine now. How about that?
Yeah, he does jujitsu and makes wine. Big day.
That's what that guy.
That's
Happy Oktoberfest miracle.
You know where his
that's it.
winery
The
is?
front man. It's in Arizona. I bought a bottle of wine
Wait a
from
minute.
there.
Not
what?
far from where?
Because he was in Tool?
Huh? I bought it as a gift.
Not far from where? In Arizona? In an artsy
boy.
community?
Oh, boy.
Oh.
This is where you were.
Sorry,
I'm gonna
what?
let you handle that one.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
called-
man.
what's the-
There's
what's the-
another,
what's
there's
the name of
another
the
one that's
song?
worse than Katie Tubin now. Now it's Megan Anderson,
Oh.
Oh.
I'll take a look.
Australian. Well, she looks like Katie Tubin with a bunch of tattoos and fights. And
Oh.
she's based in Kansas City.
Is this the one that you were tweeting at over the weekend?
Oh, yeah. Yep. She got a big win. I got to let her know we support her.
I saw the tweet and I said Chris is gonna have.
Oh,
to
don't play that. It's going to get pulled.
Oh,
That'll
that's
get
right.
pulled.
Sorry.
Yeah.
or else we would be playing the song.
Yeah.
Sorry. I just wanted to hear it. I didn't know what if
No.
I recognize the song.
I got you.
Okay, my bad.
Well,
Okay, back
we'll
to
take a listen.
Cocktoberfest.
So, Schism by Tool is the first song on the list. The second one, hey, I hope you guys have tickets
Oh,
to the
boy.
NHL All-Star
Oh,
game in
no.
January.
Oh, boy.
When I Come Around by Green Day.
How does that go?
Ba-da-dum-bum-bum, starts off like that.
Somebody try to get into my
I've been waiting for the moment who's like that. Ba-da-dum-bum-bum-bum. The world go round and everything. I believe this is the one we got in trouble for walking around the basketball courts in 5th grade, just like singing the entire album.
Oh, really?
They were like, yeah, maybe you could edit that a little.
Off what? Dookie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That was a great album cover too. It was
Yeah.
like a bunch of cartoons, and you're like, oh look, there's that.
The
There's a
lettering.
dog pooping
the
on something.
lettering
Yeah.
stuck out to the younger folk, I think. So Green Day, When I Come Around, and Tool, Schism are your two songs
Sounds fun.
for the Cocktoberfest playlist.
How delightful is that? How delightful.
Calm down over there.
Okay, sorry.
What are you planning? Blackuary already?
I'm not
and
planning anything. I cannot just
Blackuary.
enjoy Black History Month.
Clip that off. Let's send that to the internet.
Blackuary?
Let's get Gardner out of here.
That is the most white thing, the whitest thing you can say during Cocktoberfest. Blackuary.
Gardner, I watched Black Klansman recently. That sounds like one of the dudes, the super hyper over racified Klan members. They would have said that.
Blackuary?
They would have said that. What do they want? Blackuary?
I'm gonna have to edit this before I put it out.
Legitimately, that's something.
No,
they
no,
would have
no, you will not.
said. Oh man, that's oh my gosh.
Before we do our pop culture,
They're in soap commercials and everything now. They're taking over.
what is this? Blackuary?
That's good.
Like that? Yeah.
Adam Driver is acting like he hates Jewish people undercover as a 6'5" Jewish guy. Yeah, they were on to him as a Jewish guy. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Before we do our pop culture, which is a celebration and of an element of white culture, I wanted to look back at something from last week real quick because Travis is playing dress up something last week to get
I
involved
was.
with
Get into
Cocktoberfest.
spirit.
Just a quick side by side for everyone, just so you can see what we were dealing with.
wow. thank you.
I nailed it.
Yeah.
Maybe too I can be
What do you
mediocre
think?
at my job and keep it for almost 10 years.
Well, they've never had a losing season.
Yeah.
Oh,
They're
that's
in
how.
the
Oh, wow.
playoffs
No losing
currently.
season. I guess when
Pretty
you play
good.
162 games,
Technically
you know,
been
have
a part
losing
of 2
season.
World Series
You know, have
wins
a
as
payroll
well.
about the size of
Yeah.
a small country,
more,
but sure,
more
not having
World
a
Series appearances.
Yeah.
the fans just completely just give you money hand over fist, and you still try to find a way to talk about a budget. But all right,
Cubs dynasty lasted like 6 years.
Yeah. Okay. That's yeah. All right.
I
Oh,
nailed
boy.
it.
Oh my God. Bless
You just sneeze into a blanket.
Gesundheit.
Give it to a Native American, you jerk.
you. Well, one more time, just for
Look at that.
that does look good. You did a
That-
good job.
You should send it to Mo. Send that to Mo.
I
You're,
wanted
you're,
to
you're
credit
good with the
you.
Cardinal folks. Send it to them.
Boy, have you interviewed him before, Gardner? I don't think we have.
I've talked to him.
He would not do such a thing.
Man, we filled in or something. I don't think we've talked to him, but boy, even with like layup questions with people, he's obviously like they're kind of on the Cardinals payroll. Like he is not easy to interview. Everything he says is kind of a condescending
School of Bill Belichick.
response.
School
It's
of
it's
Bill
interesting,
Belichick.
and
He'll
he's
be
not
dry.
mean. He's not mean, but he's like, can you explain that further? Like,
He and I disagree on an item, and it's been
Document it.
in public before.
Yeah, it
so.
has.
You discussed it in public. Oh, I forgot. What was that?
It was about opt-out clauses.
Oh, and he got mad, right?
He got a little
Miffed.
little short with me,
Oh, okay, that's right.
and I kind of stepped forward and followed up. So,
Oh boy.
oh well, it's okay.
Okay, back
I
to
still love him.
Cocktoberfest.
I still
Yeah,
love him.
Yeah.
Today for pop culture. Are you ready?
Okay.
If that ain't the whitest thing a white man has ever whited in his life.
Mosh pits. Mosh pits.
Never
Oh,
been in
man.
a mosh pit. No
You
desire.
never have, like Shaq.
Never.
Oh,
no. Don't
God.
have a desire to be in one, and that didn't count because no one even swung on Shaq, so that can't. be
Nobody
counted as a
swings
mosh
on you.
pit.
Well, that's not true.
Never got.
This is a
I'll be
young man's
honest.
game.
I will say what we've seen for pop culture, they have been things that do not appeal to black people at all. So that's really, you're doing a good job at picking
We're
these
trying
things
to narrow
because-
it down here.
Because like you did float trips and now mosh pits, and these aren't things that St. Patrick's Day, these are things we're fine watching from a distance. Like mosh pit isn't a thing. I've never heard any of my homies who've even done the craziest of the craziest things
they
go.
even do like you think of mosh pits, you think of metal at times, right?
Right.
And
I mean,
it's,
yeah.
it's not going to be like Tool.
Right.
Tool is a different style. Maybe Green Day, maybe.
No, it did. Like there was like the famous like mosh pit at Green Day at Woodstock with
Yeah.
all everything, but like, yeah, there's some pop like mosh pits. Like I don't know where 80s Metallica would
Yeah.
have felt like a mosh pit thing, but I don't even know if that was happening because it was more like headbanging.
No, it's like death metal.
I
is what
guess.
you think of, but
then it got co-opted by like
EDM.
butt rock. Oh, they do those at
EDM is taking it because I have found some EDM
Well, that's just
Really?
dumb.
footage. I
Really?
wanted to show this to
Okay,
you.
what do we got?
These are at EDM concerts. These are videos of mosh pits taking place
Oh,
there.
okay. That just seems. Oh, my anxiety just went through the freaking roof right there.
Oh, bunch
Now
of
that
them
looks.
fell
Now that
over.
doesn't look crazy. There's
Now,
like a
hold
bunch
on.
of kids just jumping around and shit.
But this is just part of them. This is the beginning. of
My
the video.
anxiety is just going through the roof as we speak.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a
You
young
ready?
man's thing.
Okay, that seems pretty innocent. Doesn't look too
Once
crazy.
again, this is an EDM concert.
Okay, just a bunch of white boys jumping around in a circle. That
Well,
ain't terrible.
That's what kind of.
Okay, I don't see any fists being thrown. Anybody getting too physical? It's not bad. Just a bunch of. It seems like
Yeah,
I'd be
I'm
exhausted.
trying to
after
think,
like
like-
10 minutes. I'd be too tired.
I've been to metal shows, and Triangle Assassin has suggested we get Travis to a gore show for
Okay.
a Treview, which would be
This
hilarious.
should be a good one
I'll take
here.
a GoPro.
Yeah.
camera.
And they
Okay,
just
see,
run
my
into
anxiety.
each other.
Oh, my anxiety. Oh, shit.
They used to do this thing at some shows, and they would say
incredibly. Oh, my God, my body.
they would do this thing at some shows, and they would call it the Braveheart,
Mm-hmm.
and they would separate the crowd and be like, "You guys go to that side, and then you guys go to that side," and they would have you run into each other, and everyone would do it. This is my favorite. Our boy Birch was an offensive tackle in high school. If you show up to a mosh pit with a guy who stays low and chops his feet in the mosh pit, you can go anywhere. This guy could squat a small car, and these little pop punk kids are trying to mosh with him. It's like a air jack, like a hydraulic jack, just hits you with two hands. You get an offensive lineman in there. I remember that when I decided moshing was no longer for me. I was 17.
No
and,
longer for you.
Yeah, I was 17, and we were on a trip to Puerto Vallarta. And it was like one of these rackets where they just talk every high school kid in from all over the country to being like, it's grad week. You have to celebrate graduating high school by being in Puerto Vallarta. And definitely a guy who went on to play free safety for the Arizona State Sun Devils, like 6'5", jacked white dude, was like, "Oh, we're moshing at this." Like stupid thing. We were just having fun jumping around and stuff, and he was like, "We cool to mosh?" And we were all like, "Yeah, man, yeah." And he launched like 4 people through that. And I remember like slamming. He was like, "Oh, it's on," and I was like, "Yeah, for sure. We're all big guys. Yeah, let's have some fun." And then you go flying through the air and hit something metal. I'm like, This doesn't make the music better. This kind of sucks. I just remember being like, "Okay, I'm good." Yeah.
I kind of when I see moshing, I think of like eating crab legs. I shouldn't put up this much work in order to enjoy something.
Yeah.
And I just, and look, do what you got to do. I would rather young white males do that as opposed to their other
All
options
right.
they've used in the past.
Well, let's talk about
so
that.
I'm game. Oh, good for mosh pits. Good for you guys.
Good for Clocktober and mosh pits.
Yeah, good for you guys.
So that's our celebration, our pop culture.
Oh, pop culture
today.
Job well done.
We'll have more tomorrow.
Well,
My gosh. There was another thing we would do at rock concerts. This is not fair. It was like I was tall, so like we get tired of getting kicked in the head, right? Because you want to be up close. You get kicked in the head enough, you have other friends with you that are kind of like meatheads or super strong or whatever. If 3 or 4 really strong grown men gobble in a crowd surfer and you get it together and you go 1, 2, 3, and then you launch them, you can like throw people like 20 feet in the air with 4 people, and they enjoyed it.
Are you
But
saying
that was
you've done
another
this?
fun. I may have been the herder because I could pull them from the top of the crowd. It was pretty funny. Good
Does your
times.
community do this, Travis?
my community will not.
Have you ever been at a rap concert where a gunfire went off?
I have
I
not.
was thinking you had a story about that.
No, I don't. I didn't have my. That doesn't
Somebody else.
happen.
Chicago.
No, you really haven't?
I've never been to a concert at all where a gunshot has gone off. I've been to
trying to think.
clubs.
Okay. There's a
different,
story where you
though.
had to rush out of somewhere.
But I didn't even rush when the gunfire went out. You're like, man, that's messed up.
Yeah. Next
Anyway,
song,
tickets-
please. Shake your tail feather.
Because sometimes a lot of things, like with rap songs, like gunshots are in the song, so sometimes you don't even know. You're like, oh man, that's dope how they dropped that beat. What? Somebody's bleeding over there? Well, it'd be
Thought
like
you were-
that sometime. Turn it up, DJ.
Thought you were real cool whenever you turned up that part on the DMX album, didn't
I
you?
did, like, look at me. guys. Well, I don't care what anybody says.
We'll do the other one tomorrow.
No, I wanted to do mine today.
We had 8 minutes.
Gardner,
Yeah.
can we do it? Gardner.
No, because we're gonna need some.
Well, we're gonna
time.
run it to Dave Ramsey.
You know what you got?
Money.
Black Sheep
I would
makes
play
a great
that, but
point.
I can't see it on my screen because
Yeah.
it's cracked.
Well, that happens.
Oh.
Well, get the videotape and we'll get somebody to replace yours. Black Sheep reminding us the element of dehydration in the middle of summer was an added bonus at Warped Tour. So true. So true. You've never seen white people on another planet when they had to have been taking painkillers and take like half a drink of one of those guitar beers they sell out at the River City or whatever, River Port. And it's the middle of summer, it's 110 degrees, and they're watching Andrew WK or whatever freaking band is just going wild. And you just see people like their eyes are in 4 different directions. They don't know their name or where they're at or anything. So Warped Tour would have been a good one for that too, for sure. And unnecessary moshing. Like you get a band, like a really like cheesy band, like a Simple Plan, playing their songs. Like, is this really moshable
Why are you
music?
doing this?
Yeah. Like,
Why-
what are we doing
why
here?
are you doing this?
Yeah. You just vomited up the free Yoo-hoo you were given at the
Oh.
skateboard stand. Okay.
We'll
So there
talk
it is.
more concerts tomorrow.
Happy Cocktober, everybody. Do you have a big one planned for tomorrow?
For Cocktober?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'll figure it out after the show.
Oh.
It's usually day by day.
Okay.
We have a list, and
You
then
keep
we
it
kinda-
fresh in case there's a hot new band.
Something could happen.
All right.
You don't know. Let's
Okay.
try to. We'll address it after the show.
Okay. That
But
makes
we'll-
sense.
We'll definitely be discussing music again when we play the Great American Race tomorrow.
Okay. We'll do that. Some quick reminders, and then we can do some shout-outs to everybody. Happiest Hour, again, this Thursday, 6 o'clock start for comedy. We're going to do that right here at Sophie's on the 2nd floor of the Dot Zack building. That's 3224 Locust Street. We'll have comedy, Jack Daniel specials, Schlafly specials, all of those happening this Thursday. And don't worry, because if you can't make that, you can come to our second Thursday show at Gaslight and Gastro Pit over in the Shaw area. Oh, it's at Shaw and Kings Highway. Travis, you did some time last week. Very funny. Great job. It's on the hill.
Thank you.
Come join us for great food and laughs starting around 8:30 every single Thursday right here on the south side of St. Louis. And then again, one more time, Oktoberfest this weekend. We'll be hosting that. It'll be a heck of a time over in Soulard Market Park. Very excited to be doing this for the 2nd year in a row. Look out for us, and our friend John Pertzborn will be there. He's a legit multimedia journalist, so don't forget that. Oh, there he is.
there
Hey,
he is.
Johnny.
Such
Johnny
a good guy.
Pertz, everybody.
Johnny P.
Mm.
Oh, you guys got some shout outs today.
Yeah, shout out to Megan Anderson. Big win down in Australia on the UFC event. She wasn't the main event. Israel Adesanya.
I feel like
became
there's
the
an
second-
undertone to
the
this shout
second
out.
Ever,
Is there a,
the second ever Nigerian champion, Nigerian-born champion in the UFC. See, this is me saying, "Look over here."
yeah,
Travis.
why?
Don't worry. Don't worry about the
He's
6
good.
foot. Don't worry about the 6 foot lady who's looks exactly like about 20 girls I've dated winning. But yeah,
He's
shout
gonna
out
have
to Megan
stop
Anderson.
following her on.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh,
I
wow.
was like, congrats, Megan.
saw it, and I started laughing.
I was
actually.
legitimately excited for her because she's never fought in Australia and she trains out of Kansas City, and I know the guys that train her in Kansas City, and I was so excited. I was like,
could
great
tell.
win, great win.
I saw it and I started laughing.
Yeah, I knew that.
So we have
I just should just not even use anything because anything I tweet out immediately, I'm like, why'd I do that? Who cares about
You're in
this?
love. That's what happens when you're in love.
Yeah.
Gardner, who are you shouting out today?
I don't know if I have any shout-outs.
On Cocktoberfest
Really?
Monday?
No
No
one?
one?
Not like
Not-
the
not-
makers of Rosie's? I don't know.
What about the folks at folks at
Scooters?
Urgent Care? They
Urgent-
took care of you.
Okay.
What
I
about
can
your
do that.
cane maker?
Yeah, your cane maker.
I don't know who made it. Shout out to Michael Caine.
Yeah, there you
And
go.
a shout out to the folks at Total Access Urgent Care for taking care of me.
Gave you that
And a
steroid
shout
shot. You're
out-
welcome.
Shout out to Sean for driving me there.
Nice.
Oof, that was more
Oh,
dangerous than
yeah, I'm
the
about to say
scooter
that's-
accident.
And then sitting in
I gotta go
there,
to the bathroom.
and as I'm going in, I'll be out. I don't know how long it's gonna take. He's like, okay, chop chop.
You're like, you move slower than me with a bum leg. Oh man.
Shout out to the oldest living president ever, Jimmy Carter, and he had
Wow.
he had a little bit of an accident over the weekend as
Oh,
well.
no.
He had a black eye. He's doing okay. He fell. He had to get stitches, but
Nothing
he's doing
harder
fine.
than seeing an older person with a black eye.
Yeah, it's
oh,
so
that's
tough.
Awful.
But Jimmy Carter's still with us. I think he just recently celebrated his 95th birthday, if I'm
Yeah.
not mistaken.
He's 95 or 6?
95.
95,
95.
I think.
Yeah, the
Mid-90s.
oldest. Is it the oldest ever living president?
I'm not sure, but that
I
it's
feel
hard
like
to top that.
Yeah, I don't think he's the longest living, if I'm not mistaken. So shout out to Jimmy Carter, and get well soon, Jimmy C.
Oh,
Jimmy G. I did
Jimmy
Jimmy
Garoppolo?
Jimmy Garoppolo because he's playing in
Football.
I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Did you bet on that game?
Yeah, I did.
Ah, Travis.
quick question. Cardinals season in today?
Yeah, it ends tonight.
No.
It was fun while it lasted, but yeah, it's over.
By the way, you know what? Let's do a group shout out to Adam Wainwright. Oh my God.
That's a good one.
Yeah,
First
that's
of
a good
all,
one. I
and
like
you
that
know
one.
what? Another thing, they're like, he's so old. Oh God, look at he pitched it. Look at the old man walking to the mound. Look at him go. He's
30.
a 6'7" professional athlete. He's 38. He would have literally
say
been.
he's 3
he's
years
younger
older
than
than us.
Gardner.
He's
He would have
younger
been
than
a
Gardner.
senior when we were freshmen. It's like, shut up. The guy's he could play. He could pitch. You know what? After this year, and maybe you know what? If they loosen the restrictions on it, give it to him. The guy could pitch another couple years, maybe.
I'm starting to also think that
I don't
having,
want him to, but-
having a bunch of kids also leads to you living longer and being like more athletic long. Like I'm noticing the theme, like Phillip Rivers, Eddie Murphy, Adam Wainwright. The more kids you have,
get
the
to-
older you get. I guess 'cause
well,
you got all
you're
that
motivated.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go home.
Yeah, there it is. I feel like that may be it because I'm like, what is up with these guys with 19 kids?
Wayno's adopting kids.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Wayno's like on child number 7, I think.
I don't.
Salute to that man because and you know what? And I'm glad you pointed that out. He's also amazing in this community. And I always want to point that out
He had
because
a
it's
killer.
very
He had
easy. very
good season this year, and
Had
then
a
to
very
turn
good
in
season this
7
year.
2/3, no
Shutout
earned
ball, yeah,
runs,
just-
8 Ks.
He
That's
was,
insane.
He was outstanding. And
What
yeah,
he's
you're
done
right.
in the community is more important than anything he's ever done.
Yes, I completely
He's-
agree.
He's one that has taken his platform
Yes.
and done
Wonders.
good with.
He just done great for it.
and
And I
not
will
ever
always.
compromised himself or
No,
anything.
no, and he's
Think
always
about that. He's a guy who's like he's obviously very into religion, and from what you've seen, at least, like he doesn't ever make himself look dumb. He
Well, and
doesn't
he
ever
doesn't-
criticize where it shouldn't be criticized, and then get caught, with the maid in the bowels of
And
Busch
then not only
Stadium
that,
or
like
something.
he does it so where it's like, hey, I know some of my teammates ain't religious, and I'll share that with my religious. He
I
just
don't
feels
know.
like he does it in
He's
a
a great
way
example.
that isn't in your face overbearing. He does it in a way that's respectful and
But
he respects
maintaining what he
everyone
believes in.
and maintaining what he believes in, and that you can't help but respect a great guy. But so good shout out call, Chris. Good job.
Real quick from Tom Brown, Jimmy Carter might have a black eye, but you should see the other guy.
Jimmy Carter Trump right now. Who wins?
I'm the toughest of the planet. Kyle Donegan doing Trump, my version. I've never lost a fight.
I think if he can make Trump just trip over that he can't get up.
I think
Be
that's
like a
true
turtle.
too. I think.
You see the front of that fella?
I'll never forget how I felt. And again, I go out of my way to ignore things he says and just be like, oh, this man has to, you know, at a certain point, hopefully things overcome. But I'll never forget how offended I was that he said he weighed 250 pounds.
I was so pissed.
And I was like,
that was probably our day where we
I
both.
was like, all right, man.
Yeah,
all
that
right.
was the day where it
Don't
really did
talk
it for
to me
all
about
of
it.
us.
Shut the fuck
I
up.
was
Yeah,
like,
I was like, oh, whoa,
listen, hey,
whoa,
I ain't doing
whoa.
this. Like, bro, no. If that, then I weigh 700 pounds. If you weigh 250, I've weighed 250
He
pounds.
said 245, man.
245.
245.
And I look goddamn good when I weigh 245, and I'm like, that ain't 245, bro.
So I
You are
think
you are not that lacking of muscle
I
mass.
think if you could just dodge him one time and get him off balance and just
Piece him up.
just let him
I just need to see him run once.
push him over.
I just need to see him run once. We've seen Obama run. We've seen George W. run. We've seen Billy run. I think we've even seen Hillary run. I want to see him run.
Were you aware that Israel Adesanya became the second ever
Yes,
Nigerian?
I did, Chris.
Oh,
Where
really?
I got the alert on my phone.
Did you?
All my Nigerian friends let me know.
Okay, gotcha.
And no, I will not do my Nigerian accent.
What do
not
you?
gonna ask
I've
for
seen
it.
more goat jokes from you on Twitter towards your Nigerian friends ever. That if I made one of those, it would be flayed in the street.
And here's the funny thing about all of that. Like, I told them this because they have like what they call real jobs and careers. And so I go, yeah, you would be my lawyer. You would be my manager. So I'm like, yeah, I know I made those goat jokes. But at the end of the day, I would put my life in your hands.
Is it offensive for me, like if I'm talking about Tom Brady and I put GOAT out there, are they offended?
Mm-hmm.
Will you add the flag and then you start no, will you do that?
How do they go?
Then yes, it becomes very offensive.
This is the part where if you're just listening, Travis is the black one.
I'm Chris Gardner, and this has been We Are Live.
Chris Gardner's black too. Will Smith played him in a movie.
Very true. It all comes
What do we
full
ever
circle.
do? Guys, thank you so much. Be sure to tell your friends about our show. Support all the sponsors that support us. We're back tomorrow live at 8 a.m. Another great week. If you missed last week, go back and listen to Ian Edwards. That was really good. See ya.
Wait, hold on.
And Akeem Woods.
Peace?
Is that it?
Yeah, peace in China.